If you had just one chance to go back and fix a mistake that you made in life, would you take it? Hi everyone, I'm Archana Balasubramaniam and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be unboxing all the books that I got from Bookchur in their book fair at Vega City Mall in Bangalore. So let's start off with the video. The first one here is a Ratatouille book. I got it for my cousin's baby. So if you haven't read or watched Ratatouille, you don't have to read it. You have to actually watch that movie. Ratatouille is an amazing animated movie. I know I'm talking about a kid's book right now, but I'm sure it will be helpful for all new mothers or mothers of young kids. So Ratatouille is about a rat who actually helps a man in cooking. So if you haven't got a chance to read the book, you should definitely watch the movie at least. It's one of my most favorite movies. So let's move on to the next book. The next one is a book from Edgar Allan Poe. It's about 8 Tales of Terror. It's about horror. There are different horror tales put in together into this book that is precisely 8 tales like the title says. I'm pretty excited to read this book because I haven't read any book from this writer. So let's move on to the next one now. So the next book is called For One More Day by Mitch Albom. So if you've been following me, you would have already seen that I had recommended another book by Mitch Albom, that is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. You may be familiar with his very popular book called Tuesdays with Morrie. So another book that was my favorite is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, and this is another one that I picked. It's called For One More Day. So if you had just one chance to go back and fix a mistake that you made in life, would you take it? So this book explores that aspect, and I'm sure it's going to be wonderful because his book has a lot of depth to it.
Wow!
Once you read this book, you come out of it feeling very rejuvenated with a new perspective on life. So I definitely recommend his books. I've read only 2 of that so far. So this is going to be my 3rd one, and I'm very excited to read it. The next book is called You Are Dead by Peter James. So this book is about a man losing his fiancée, as in she goes missing, and then during his search for her, he finds that another woman of a similar age is found dead. So they uncover her remains and they try to find out if these 2 deaths are interconnected and if there is a serial killer on loose. So this is a thriller, and I'm very excited to read this as well. Once I read it, I'll definitely post a review on my channel. So please subscribe and stay tuned to watch that. Okay, so let's move on to the next book. The next book is called The Help, and it's by Kathryn Sockett. This book has also been made into a movie. I haven't watched the movie yet. So just reading the synopsis for you. There's Aibileen raising her 17th white child and nursing the hurt caused by her own son's tragic death. Minnie, whose cooking is nearly as sassy as her tongue, and white Miss Skittier, home from college, who wants to know why her beloved maid has disappeared. Skittier, Aibileen and Minnie, no one would believe they'd be friends. Fewer still would tolerate it. But as each woman finds the courage to cross boundaries, they come to depend and rely upon one another, each in search of a truth, and together they have an extraordinary story to tell. So I found this very interesting, and I picked it up instantly the moment I laid eyes on it on the bookshelf. So this is another book that I got. Let me just keep it here and arrange it so that we know how many we got. Okay. The next one is Dracula by Bram Stoker. I haven't watched this movie and I haven't read the book too. I know it's a classic and I've taken really long to get my hands on this, and I'm pretty excited to read this. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm very obsessed with vampires and folklore and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited to read Dracula. Though I have watched the movie Van Helsing and I have read a couple of vampire books, but Dracula is the OG and I'm pretty excited to read this. Okay, so next we have Digital Fortress by Dan Brown. So this book was recommended to me by my colleague's wife, and she had a great taste in books. So I took her suggestion blindly and I went ahead, picked this book, and I also read the synopsis which appealed to me. So I've got this book. I had read the book The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown and I really loved it. Other than that, I haven't read any of his other books. And then when I picked this book and I read that in the synopsis, there was a case of code breaking and a cryptographer involved. I found that instantly interesting. Of course, there is the whole synopsis to this, but then like these terms instantly got my attention, and I was like, definitely my my type of thing. So I went ahead and bought it. But for you, I'd like to read the synopsis. When the National Security Agency's invincible code-breaking machine encounters a mysterious code it cannot break, the agency calls in for its head cryptographer, Susan Fletcher, a brilliant young beautiful mathematician. What she uncovers sends shockwaves through the corridors of power. The NSA is being held hostage, not by guns or bombs, but by a code so complex that if released, would cripple US intelligence. Caught in an accelerating tempest of secrecy and lies, Fletcher battles to save the agency she believes in. Betrayed on all sides, she finds herself fighting not only for her country, but for her life and in the end, for the life of the man she loves. So this seemed very interesting and I got this book too. So let's move on to the next book now. Okay, so the next book is called Altogether Dead by Charlaine Harris. So this is from the HBO original series True Blood. The series was made based on this book. I have another part of this book and I intend to collect the whole series before I start reading it. So again, this is about vampires, and there is also a woman called Suki in it. So let me show you the other book I have from this series. Okay, so with this, let's move on to the next book. Yes, the very popular The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Here I am with the book finally. I'm very excited to read it, and I haven't watched the movie because I prefer reading the books first and then watching the movie if it still interests me. But I'm sure this will interest me because I've heard great reviews about it, and who doesn't love a great thriller? So this is my next book. And lastly, the book that I picked up is called The Time Traveler's Wife. So this book is about a couple called Claire and Henry. So Henry suffers from a rare condition where his genetic clock periodically resets. So he's either pulled into the past or into the future. So the lives of how Claire and Henry are, pieced together and how they try to lead a normal life is what this book is about. And I've heard so much about this book too, and I just couldn't wait to read it. And I don't want to go by book talks because, certain books are trending, but then there are so many undiscovered books that are so beautiful and so moving, but then, it just never comes to the limelight. Just like how I mentioned The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. It still remains one of my most favorite books and it never once came up on Book Talk. I think we should start a trend for that particular book. Okay, so with this, not just that, I actually got another book. So some of the new arrivals were not a part of the book box. So I had to buy it separately, and I also got a 10% discount on it, again from the same bookstore fair. It's called Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. One thing I've noticed, I've read 2 other books of hers, that is The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain. One thing I noticed about those 2 books was that the plot of the book was very simple, but then the way she writes is so engaging and so humorous. It's like she just spills out whatever thoughts, all those awkward, funny thoughts into, this book. And it's really amazing because, when you actually see the main characters, it just makes you feel that, okay, nobody is perfect. They have all such thoughts. So they are like, okay, am I drinking the soup in a weird way? Why is he staring at me like that? Have I got something on my teeth? Such things, such little thoughts are also penned down into the book, and I really appreciate her way of writing, which is why I got this, because I wanted a light read. So I'll be making a book review of the books I like soon. and I hope you stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. It really means so much to me that you invested your time and made it till the end of the book haul. I thank you all so much for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. It motivates me so much to make more. I hope to provide you more value. If you have any suggestions on the kind of content that I make, you can drop it in the comments below, or if there is any specific book that you'd like me to review, I'd like to hear that as well. So I make videos on books and creative activities, and I try to alternate videos every week just so that there's a mix of both. So thank you so much for watching. Stay happy, stay blessed, and stay kind, and please subscribe to my channel. Bye.